And I would love for you, Christian, to share with us all. Tell us about your products that you have extensively researched for decades and created to support our own regenerative power of our own stem cells.
So the product name is StemRegen, and basically it's what I just described. It's the blend of the top 5 plants that we have documented over the years trigger the release of our own stem cells. So to get so for your listeners to get a good understanding of what that means in our studies. So these are all double-blind crossover placebo-controlled studies. So people come in the morning in the lab, they sit down for about an hour just to be sort of to have their blood like completely calm, if I could say, because when you're activated, when you're stressed, when you move, you change your blood cell population. So we want things to be all calm and stable. Then we take a blood sample, then we give the person the placebo or the plant that we want to study, and then we take another blood sample an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours after consumption, and we pass these blood samples into a flow cytometer, which is a machine that counts the number of stem cells. I'm simplifying here, but counts the number of stem cells, and we can, and then the same person comes back a week later, and we redo the exact same process, taking this time the other one, the placebo or the plant, and because it's double blind, and then we subtract from the effect of a plant, we subtract the person's circadian cycle in terms of how many stem cells they have in their bloodstream during that time frame where we do the study. And so that's how we document that these plants put more stem cells in circulation. So we have plants that will increase anywhere between 25% to 80% the number of stem cells in circulation. The top 5 that we have documented are included in StemRegen. And as we were doing some of that research, so I mentioned, for example, medicinal mushroom. When we tested medicinal mushroom, reishi, cordyceps, lion's mane, for their effect on stem cells, what we saw is that we saw this very quick drop in the number of stem cells, about 20-25% drop within about 20 minutes. And that was very puzzling because everything that we had seen so far was more stem cells in circulation. So the first conclusion was the machine must be broken, the machine must be dirty, the reagents must be problematic. So cleaning the machine, changing all the reagents, changing the antibodies, and then after a few months, really understanding that, no, it looks like it's a real response. And what we discovered is that some of these plants, the plants that have polysaccharide, generally speaking, so goji berry, medicinal mushroom, what they do is that they increase the density of the receptor at the surface of stem cells that is used to locate the tissues that need repair. So these tissues needing repair release a compound, SDF1. It connects with that receptor. And when the stem cells is in the fine capillaries of the affected tissue and that molecule is there, when they connect with the receptor, it makes the stem cell migrate into the tissue. So if you increase the density of these receptors, the stem cells now are more capable, more receptive to migrate into tissues. So they leave the blood circulation. So that's why we saw that drop. So once we start to document those kinds of plants.
And that's a breakthrough discovery.
It is a breakthrough discovery because we have never published on it for one simple, stupid reason, is that in science, you cannot publish something if you cannot discuss it in lieu of existing science. And there's virtually nothing done on stem cell migration. So we need to really go back to fundamental science and start to document it more before we can show what this plant is doing on the whole process. So my hope is that we get into this down the road, but it's pretty clear that if we want these stem cells to leave the blood, to go into your skin, for example, to repair your skin, they need to migrate. So even though we may not have scientifically well documented all this phenomenon, if we can see that they leave the blood to go into the tissue, one might as well include that in the product to just enhance that process as well. So we have 5 products that release stem cells, 2 that stimulates their migration. So when you take the product, you have about 10 million new stem cells in circulation, and then we help them move into tissues. And by doing this cycle every day, or even several times a day, you basically send these waves of stem cells your own stem cells, you release them naturally in a number that is physiological. They migrate in tissues in a physiological way that your body is biologically intended to repair. And as you do this every day, then the cumulative effect over time can be at times quite impressive.